Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions. This is episode 100 and I forgot to mark it. One lots 50 something. Anyway, it's part 5 for La Vuelta. It's stage 12, so we're past that halfway point. I'm taking it easy on this first climb if I can. As Shimway is dropping back a little bit too quick, though. So we need to at least increase his effort. We're trying to conserve as much as possible for the moment. There's two climbs. That's it for the whole day. Tried to get Arab in the break, but the same team with their 10th place man is still interested in guarding against him being away. So the three riders that were away were allowed to get away, and then they were quickly joined by 8 more. None of the 11 were threats. So without any threats in the group, all of them being about an hour or well over down in the GC, it was a pretty easy decision, and it looks like it's under control anyway. We're looking at a minute 40 gap with 9 riders left in that group as they've navigated this first climb, and the weakest couple have been dropped. It's made an easy day, with the small exception being that Air put in a little bit of work in those early kilometers to try to get off the front, but we only gave it one shot. I mean, being that he's well placed, he was right near the front of the field, so it was pretty easy for him to attack from about 1 kilometer after the start of the race. And it was quite clear quite quickly that we weren't going to get away. And there's some undulation in that first part, so 2 little climbs there. I used that first one, pulled a bit of a gap, but it wasn't enough to secure anything. Shimway still our slow man. He's already starting to recover his position. So we're going to be fine here. It looks like we will recover and have our full team for the final climb. At least one would think, as long as nothing crazy happens. It's 7K overall with an average of 5%, but most of the climbing comes in one very steep portion at 15. Well, very steep. One steeper portion at 15.7. So not a very intense day. I don't think there's going to be much, if any, change. Hardly any riders have been dropped from the peloton right now. Most of those through circumstances. We do need to get water one final time, and this is the time to do it. So Hapton, let's go ahead and head back to get that water before we start descending, and then he can make his way forward again. And let's hope these guys get some rapid recovery in on the descent. That it's all switchbacks. That's going to make it very easy. Outside of Haptum, anyway. Very easy. So he's trying to push to come back forward. We're getting a split. Multiple splits. He's still trying to get up there to get the water, and this is hurting him a lot. So our weakest man on the day. All 4 domestiques have a +3 or better. 3 of them have +5s, and then Haptum on a +3. The breakaway. One rider has escaped from the others. Haptum is nearly done. There we go. Okay, he's done it. 12.3K. We're approaching the other one, and the tempo is getting high. So let's start this task. Let's start that task. The other domestiques with their +5s are looking strong, meaning it's the kind of day where we can actually try to push things and still protect our 3 guys. As we prepare, it's gradual. It's getting steeper. Let's now hold position. Track position matters to me right now. We are going to go a little bit deeper to keep up near the front. Before we get to the steep section, there's that breakaway, by the way. Before we get to that steep section, we're going to start to make a push. Coming up on 5K to go from the top here, which means we're getting into that territory where we can pretty effectively make that push. Now, Haptum's essentially done, but let's do it. Let's do it. We're not going to go crazy. This is not going to, we're just hoping to catch some guys off guard. So, Arab is the leader. Samuels, and it's Tony, right? Yeah. Arab with a +5 is stronger than Samuels and Matoni. We're going to protect them. Shimway is the other, but less important. So you got Benuna. Or Dewey. He's a 78. Oh, definitely Hanoak. Why is Hanoak looking weak comparatively? And Isaacs. Isaacs is not very well placed. So he's going to have to come forward hard and fast initially. as the others kind of take their foot off the gas. He's out of red bar anyway, so Isaacs is just going to full gas 99, yellow bar only kind of tempo right here. We weren't the only ones that were thinking that this was about the spot. Breakaway's caught, one rider left. It's the plus, and he's been caught now. Petrovic, Palis, Mihailovic, that's a strong team right there. 2.7 from the top. And it eases off. So this is one of those things where one big push could actually get separation. And that's what we're going to see if we can do that. Split the field, and we've done it just like that. 40 riders. 40 riders. 37 as we go over the top. Benuna, Henok, Shimway collecting the points. That's the same climb we were on. We're going to go down the side we came up before. 37. Make that 38 riders. We're going to drop Arab behind. Isaacs is protecting. Okay, we're looking good. We're stopping anybody else from being able to make a move by leading this thing out. This is the same descent that we were on. Okay, so it's not the side we came up, it's the side we descended last time, so we've descended it twice with all those switchbacks. And Benuna, 9K. Great downhill, opening up gap behind us a little bit. I'm going to tell Henok to gel up. 23, we split the field. 21. 13. Full gas. Isaacs. It's 36th overall. Thinking about trying to do something sneaky here. On to Henok, 3K. 2K. Got a heck of a lead out here going. Is this enough of a head start? Probably not, but we're trying. We're well placed. Samuels is going to get a top 3, maybe, just maybe. There's some guys coming really fast like sprinters. Lunge. Samuels gets third. 4 seconds. Hershey, Gregoire, Samuels, Germay, Arab, Mihailovic, Matoni, Almeida, Henok. Just 31 riders there. Definite gaps. There are riders losing time today. Now the big question is, are any of them in good positions though? Did we catch anybody out? That is way more than I expected for the stage. Getting a podium is awesome. That was a good finish. And podium for the guy who's in the red jersey, picked up 4 seconds, is good. But Gregoire, who's sits second, just keeps sprinting his way. The guy seems to be on a +5 every single day, which compared to our +5s when he's already starting ahead of us. And the difficulty is just, he's been tough to beat. Let's hope, because he's looked really strong from day one. Let's hope somewhere in this last week he's going to regress. He'll be out of his peak and struggling if we're lucky. 7 riders in the top 15 for the day. That's already pretty dang crazy. The green jersey is somehow in this small group. I mean, I guess you can see that, especially as a leader. And he's not a bad climber, certainly compared to other sprinters, but it's more of a punchy guy. But I guess today was technically hills, right? 30 riders on that front time. Others lose time. But do any of the top 20 get caught out? I mean, there's guys like Germay here. He's not anywhere near that top 20. I don't think I've seen Ulrich anywhere around there. Pellizzari caught out. We caught out at least one. So Samuel is now a minute 13 ahead of Gregoire. Almeida is 2:12. Matoni is 2:18, still in 4th place. Arab moves up 1 spot to 11th. Wells, the guy with his team that has been giving us a hard time, worried about Arab taking that 10th place away from him. He might not care anymore. Might be on Movie Star to take up that reign and now care. But the early opportunity for breakaway and not worrying about it is done. So we need Arab to just climb his little heart out. But with +5s every day, that's better. Matoni and Samuels, we need them to start getting them as well, as they have not had it the last few days, off and on anyway. But Piganzoli, losing 7 places, now 6 minutes down from 2 something. Piganzoli lost like 4 minutes for the Italian oil team. That's a big one right there, moving us up the order. Shimwe moves up to 18th. So Buitrago losing time. Ortega losing time. So definite changes. We did catch out a couple riders today and snagged those 4 seconds. Very happy with that. Matoni still leading the under 25s, and we are now 5+ minutes ahead, where it was about 4:40 before. So Italian Oil did not have 3 guys there at the finish line, and others did not as well. Very good outcome on that stage. Very unexpected. Another day and haircut IRL, but we're back into the racing, stage 14, so we're going to be at that 2/3 point. But we're also at a point where every stage the rest of the way matters. 14 through 21, we're going to have to play them all if we are taking this La Vuelta completely seriously. It's going to take a little bit to get through. Let's just get right into it. We've got 4 mountaintop finishes and a time trial, plus another mountain stage along the way. But we're also down to Habtum and Matoni, the only ones not yet on a fitness peak, and the only one who's dropping off a little bit is Henoch, who had a cold the last couple of days, and he has already just now recovered from that. We'll see if he bounces back or if that low motivation and average freshness continues. There is a rest day coming up here in, I'd say, 2 days, I believe. Early in the stage, but the gap is small and the chase is committed. The breakaway of 13, which is holding out just over a 1 minute advantage at this point, is going very deep. And this is good news for me because the 12th and 13th place riders were in that group. So as it's already starting to thin out, as it's lost its first, this is good because those 2 guys are going to go into this very weak today. It gives us a big chance. Remember that Arab technically is 11th place right now, with a few riders in that top 10, 2 of them being our own guys who don't necessarily belong there. And I think otherwise you're looking at probably 8th place for Arab at this moment. But we're really just now starting to get into those major climbs, and of course, we are getting into that point where Arab is supposed to be getting a +5 every day. -1 draw today, but a +4 is still huge bonuses comparatively to normal. Benuna and Henoch both got sick. Henoch's better, Benuna not. Matoni with a nasty draw. He's supposed to have a plus. Gap has opened. Those guys did establish, 12 of them anyway, establish themselves as the breakaway, with the 12th and 13th place guys being a part of that group. I will be keeping an eye on it. We do not want that group winning the stage today. I'm loving that they've been kept under pressure, though, for the entire stage. You already saw 1 rider drop off from the group before they were allowed to pull out a little bit of a gap. That's a great sign, but we've got to watch this double climb to make sure that 2.5 minute gap does not suddenly become 5. As much as I want to save my team for the final climb and for that pursuit and for the protection, of 4 guys really in the top 20, that we want to try to keep all 4 in the top 20, but especially the top 3. We've got to make sure that we do not have those 2 guys suddenly finding themselves 2, 3, 4 minutes ahead of Arab. Group's already splitting up. Pretty sure some of them will not be going back to the group. In fact, there's 4 of them right here. Let's see who is in this group. Schmid. There's quite a few guys actually in good positions, like Cordoba. But that's the only one from that group. Barry, 27th overall, 15 minutes down, has been dropped, so it's all of a sudden down to 7. There's Piganzoli, still there. Paulus is 20th. And there's Felix Gall, who is 12th. That's the other one to watch out for. But even Alonso, a lot of talent in that group that went away today. But they have been thinned out quite a bit. Nice big descent coming, and we've held position just fine so far. We've actually even managed to get a little bit of recovery there on the flat. Big one to keep an eye out for. Of course, it's a short climb here. This is 3K, 12%. So as it splits off a couple more riders and it thins them out, there's going to be an attack at the top, and that's going to hurt the gap, but keeping an eye on that. It's only gone up by about 10 seconds, which means they are still not any sort of threat compared to what we're looking at. Right there to our right, that was the, looks like the finishing climb. It's the opposite. We're going to come up the way we're going down right now. We got full recovery. We have not had to keep the peloton, the breakaway in check, and that breakaway is down to 4 riders and just a small gap, which 4 are left. Gall's been dropped. That's good. Front 7 back together, but just a minute 45 advantage for them, so it's smaller than it was. Peloton is also shrinking, just 87 right now. Small group that lost contact that might still get back in contact, but otherwise shrunken Peloton, though I have my entire team with 0 fatigue. And the front group is not looking much of a threat today. In fact, it's looking very likely that we can gain back time on those two. However, they've opened it back up to 2 minutes again. We might have to get somebody committed to the chase here. We've got some guys drifting right now, but this is okay. This is the hardest climb before the final climb. There's plenty of time to recover the position the bike links lost, and we are doing just that. Trying to head into that final climb now with, our maximum. Okay, this time with a fairly short descent, we need to hold position a bit better. But as we crest that's the final undulation before the finishing climb. We've got a little descent now. Recovering position's important, but Samuels looks good for that. Arab looks good for that. Matoni, the Shimway, protected riders are all looking pretty good, but now we've got to improve that position. 16K to go on the stage, and we're already almost to the base. Meaning we have not fully recovered position. Like a Shimway, he's fresh, but he's not where he needs to be. 15K. Let's go 82. Shimway's still at the very back. He made 0 forward progress on that descent. And nobody got fully recovered, actually. None of us. 70 left in the peloton. The group has actually shrunk. And the front 7 inside a minute as we are already climbing. So right now it's about position. So let's go to an 83 and just slowly... Front group disintegrating and about to get reeled in long before the top of the climb, meaning those guys are going to be in a bit of trouble here long term, and start thinking about something I should have thought of a while ago: domestiques. There is no breakaway anymore. Gotta watch for attacks now. These guys are thinking about stage. Inside 10K, but a lot of fatigue has already drained a lot of energy out of the group. Kugelman, who was in the break. Barry, who was in the break. Kemp, 17th overall, is dropped. There's Picazzoli, yes! I knew those guys were... The gap was way too close, and they were going to have gone way too deep. They weren't going to have enough to hang with us. Sure enough, there's the first one out the back. There's Felix Gall right there, about to get dropped. Paulus, 20th, also out the back, so the other breakaway guys. There's Bermudez in 16th, struggling at the back. Henoke is done, and let's check back in. If there's an attack coming, we've got to be prepared to respond. Tony, Gel, you're hanging on to 4th, but with that -2 today, you are on your own, bud. He's too far back to protect anybody else. So we will set him to about a 79, and then a Shimway at 18th needs to protect Arab and Gel. Then the attack. It's Pellizzari in 10th attacking. Wells responding from 9th. And we're down to 37, 33, 6K. We do not have a lot of energy left to get to the top. Whoa, here we go. Matoni's been dropped. Put him on auto. With him, Rivera, Mater. Here comes another group getting dropped. Zimmerman. With Trago from 22nd. Martin down to 24. My 3 guys are well positioned, and Shimway is protecting Arab. We ride for Arab, not Samuels. Here we go. Here we go. Next out of the saddle, it's Gregoire. And this is looking like one of those attacks where, yeah, they both have guys involved, meaning there's not going to be a response. So a Shimway, 3K. Let's go 80. Followed by Samuels. Followed by Arab. Gel for Samuels. That's 6, 7, 8 riders that will go clear if you don't respond. Vingegaard fading, 2.4K. A Shimway is nearly done. Gel for Arab. 6 guys have escaped at the moment. On Samuels. 1.7. And on to Arab. 900 meters. Okay, we're looking at 5th place on the stage. Gregoire, how? Carlos Rodriguez, Almeida, Petrovic, we're going to get 6th as Pellizzari had just a little bit left. Arab right there, close behind. Ayuso, Samuels places well, all things considered, but well down the order. And a Shimway also up there. Matoni's that last one here, who's definitely losing some time. There's time losses, there's time gains. Real GC contenders are going to start to emerge towards the top of this one. Arab, what's our favorite position in Grand Tours? Where did he finish? 6th place. At this point, Gregoire's got to be the favorite to win this thing. He seems to have endless amounts of energy every single stage. Right? Base is only a 79 mountain, but he's got 80 stamina and 80 flat. And those are hugely important ratings in Grand Tours. He's got huge advantages there. Plus, he's got that acceleration punchy piece where when he wants to, he just accelerates and nobody can keep up. And he seems to have a +5 every single day. At some point, it might fade and he might struggle in the final week. We haven't seen any sign of it yet. Rodriguez, 12 seconds down on the day. Almeida was 18 along with Petrovic. We were 36th with Arab. We were 1:11 with Samuels. Good gap behind Arab, too. He's gained at least half a minute on everybody else. And Samuels and a Shimway, 2 teammates, are really the next guys other than Ayuso. And then it's all of a sudden 2:09. So he gains a minute and a half over pretty much all the other contenders. Vingegaard was 2:15 for one example. Vlasov was well down. Miholjevic was well down. The downside, of course, is Matoni at 5:02. 5 minutes lost because of bad race day condition. He was protected, but we definitely didn't sacrifice him or sacrifice any additional people for him. That's going to drop him well down the order. That also means that he's likely to be back into the teens and maybe a candidate with a fitness peak a day or two away for him and some better race day conditions coming. He could be a candidate to attack on a stage, go into a breakaway, and hopefully gain back some time. Samuels obviously is going to will remain near the top. He only lost a minute 11. He'll still be on a podium spot, but I don't know if Gregoire is going to be into the race lead, which would definitely not be a bad thing. Now we can put Gruppetto into that position of charge for the field. You can see, he had nobody else around him. Their next highest guy is Michael Storer, 5.5 minutes down. All right, on to the general. Yes, Gregoire leads by 8 seconds. As much as I like getting that daily bonus for leading the race, it's good to hand that off. It is good to hand that off. So we're just 8 seconds down. So Samuels is still in a great position. Arab is up to 8th officially now at 4:56. Matoni's still in the top 10 at 6:17. Big gaps behind us other than Davida, who we overtook. We had a better day than him, but we're only slightly ahead of him. And looking at those gaps, there's still Vingegaard is still 6th at 4:27, but struggled a lot in this race. So could he be outside of a fitness peak now and starting to struggle and going backwards? That's one position that could definitely be helpful. But Pellizzari is somebody we saw do well in this one. We're just seconds behind either of them. The top 5 looking a difficult reach right now. All of them looking a little tough, except Mason Samuels. Arab in a virtual 7th, and if Vingegaard is going backwards, 6th. And then you got to just beat Pellizzari. to crack that top five finally. But we're still looking at a near 5 minute advantage for Mason Samuels over Sandy Arab. 5 minutes. But then there's that time trial, and that time trial could easily have about a 3 to 4 minute gap. So that's why you kind of still want to look at Arab and go, well, that's your leader, but that's your leader. That's definitely not Matoni now, right? And Ishimwe only gained one spot. He's 17th. So you're still going to sacrifice him for the others. He's your fourth leader for sure, but nothing more than that. We're placed well overall, though. I mean, look at that. We got 7 guys in the top 31. Even Haptom's still 50th. First rider an hour down. Plenty of stages to go. There's still a third of this race left. But, anybody outside of about 15 minutes down is definitely too far down. So you're looking at about the top 20 being the only ones left that have any chance. Realistically, especially with the form of your Gregoire and whatnot outside of what we did with that flip-flopping breakaway advantage gain, realistically, you're looking more like anyone, maybe Lucas Wells or DeVita as kind of the cutoff point on contenders. Maybe just 9 now. But we have expanded that gap in the team classification, now 8 minutes ahead of Italian Oil. Telephone is 17 down. Young riders, it's DeVita we are battling with. Arab leads. Matoni drops to third. So we relinquished the jersey, but we're still looking pretty dang good at this point for a strong finish. But what of it, right? The big loss in the top 10 was Matoni. But from where Arab was, the 2 guys that were directly behind him, the ones, obviously we're trying to look up, but the ones that were behind, Gall, Piganzoli, both losing time today as they tried to go in the breakaway, and it did not work out in their favor. We saw plenty of others lose time around that as well. So this was definitely a good day for us in the GC. Lots of big gaps opening up behind, and there's only one threat behind Arab, being that of DeVita, and then Lucas Wells. It was the Cito scene that was stopping us from going in breaks. But now that Arab's in 8th place, he's no longer a breakaway contender. Gregoire's not going to let him go. Pellizzari or Vingegaard probably not going to let him go. So there's no way that he's going to just escape and go into a break. Now, Matoni's another matter. Maybe they'll let him go. We'll have to keep an eye on, what the other teams are going to be into in terms of trying to protect riders. But with 3 riders in the top 10, we've still got to try to take advantage of it. Whether it's a Ishimwe in a break, whether it's Matoni in a break, or the unlikely Arab in a break. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.